Welcome to Life as an Immigrant in Sweden, the podcast that takes you on a journey through the challenges, triumphs, and everyday moments of adapting to life in a new country. In this episode, we'll explore what it's like to leave behind everything familiar to start fresh in Sweden, a land of fika, forests, and the philosophy of lagom. We'll talk about learning the Swedish language, finding work, and blending cultures while keeping your identity alive. You'll hear personal stories, practical advice, and insights into navigating this transformative experience. From the struggles of long winters to the joys of discovering a community, this episode is a heartfelt dive into what it means to call Sweden home. Before we dive deeper into the stories and insights, I want to share something special with you. Music has a way of expressing emotions words can't always capture, and our journey as immigrants is filled with highs and lows, hope and resilience. I've written a song called New Horizons that reflects the experience of starting fresh in a new land. It's about the courage it takes to embrace change, the beauty of building bridges between cultures, and the hope that guides us toward brighter days. So, let's take a moment to listen to New Horizons, and then we'll come back to talk more about the immigrant experience in Sweden.
I left my home with a heart excited, chasing dreams, making a brand new start. Across the sea, where the daylight stays, in the land of winters and endless days. A quiet place where the rivers run, a world so different, yet I've just begun. The language strange, the customs new, but every step brings a clearer view. New horizons calling my name. Through the struggle I'll never be the same. With every bridge I cross I'm finding my way. New horizons, brighter every day. They said take it slow, it's a steady climb. The Swedish winds will teach you in time. From the warmth of fika to the Nordic skies, I see the world through new open eyes. I've learned to cherish the stillness here. The balance of life feels crystal clear. Though I miss the sounds of my old hometown, I'm planting roots in this foreign ground. New horizons calling my name. Through the struggle I'll never be the same. With every bridge I cross I'm finding my way. New horizons, brighter every day. There's strength in starting over, in writing a brand new song. Each challenge makes me stronger. Each day I'm moving on. Through the cold of Swedish winters, through the light of endless summers, I found a home within myself and all the joy it brings. New I've learned to grow. New horizons, where will they take me?
Hey everyone, welcome back. We're diving deep today into what it's really like to be an immigrant in Sweden.
Yeah, going way beyond those typical headlines about happy Vikings and perfect systems,
Exactly. We're going to uncover those nitty-gritty day-to-day realities. Here's some personal stories.
and really get into the nuances of what it means to adapt to a whole new culture.
Because, let's face it, Sweden's got this reputation.
Oh, absolutely. Known for being super welcoming.
And for good reason. Over 20% of their population, they come from a foreign background.
It's true. But while things like equality, sustainability, and, that awesome welfare system they have, those definitely attract people.
Sure.
It's that cultural adaptation piece
Yeah.
that often ends up being the biggest, most defining part of the whole experience.
That's like the heart of the matter, isn't it?
Yeah.
And speaking of adapting, got to talk about one of the biggest hurdles for people landing in Sweden.
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
Language.
The language barrier.
Right. I mean, a lot of Swedes speak English. I've experienced that firsthand.
Absolutely, especially in the cities. Yeah.
But how crucial is it really to master Swedish if you want to, truly integrate, become part of the fabric?
It's essential. I mean, sure, lots of Swedes speak English, especially in urban areas.
Right.
But learning Swedish, that unlocks everything. It's the key.
It's got to be more than just, ordering food or reading signs, right?
Way more.
Yeah.
Think about it. You can get by with basic English. But to really get the jokes, to connect on a deeper level.
To get that feeling of truly belonging in everyday life.
Exactly. It's about accessing those deeper layers of culture, the humor, the unspoken stuff. That's where true connection happens.
So it's less about functional communication, more about tapping into the soul of Swedish culture.
Yes. And that's where programs like Swedish for Immigrants, or SFI as it's known,
Oh, yeah, SFI.
those are crucial free language classes, which is amazing.
Fantastic resource.
But it's more than that. They become hubs for connection. Think about it. You're new to the country. Maybe you don't know anyone.
Feeling a bit lost, probably.
Exactly. SFI classes, that's where many newcomers make their first friends. Find support networks.
Find their footing.
It's a sense of community in a brand new place. So yeah, pretty vital.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Something as practical as language learning
Totally.
becomes this huge doorway to really feeling integrated.
It's a gateway.
It is.
Yeah.
And you touched on this earlier, the idea of truly feeling at home in a new culture.
Yeah.
And that makes me think about those unique cultural elements Sweden's known for, like lagom. Have you heard of this?
Oh, lagom is everywhere in Sweden. It's way more than just the right amount, though.
Okay, so break it down for us. What does it really mean? How does it play out in daily life?
It's about this deep-seated desire for balance, moderation, in all aspects of life. Work-life balance, how you interact with others, even their design aesthetic.
I can see how that could be appealing, especially coming from, say, a culture that's really high pressure or competitive.
Absolutely. It can be incredibly refreshing, coming from a place where it's all go, 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 bigger is better.
Yeah.
Suddenly you're in this environment where it's about finding that sweet spot. Not too much, not too little, just right.
But I imagine that takes getting used to.
For sure. It can feel a bit, elusive at first. Maybe even a little restrictive, depending on your background.
In what way?
Well, think about it. A work culture driven by lagom, putting in crazy long hours, being super ambitious, that might not be seen as a good thing.
Interesting. So someone who's used to that climb the ladder mentality might find it a tough adjustment.
It can be a real shift in perspective. You have to learn to read those unspoken cues.
It's about understanding those subtle expectations.
Exactly.
Now, another cultural element that always comes up when you talk about Sweden is fika,
Ah, fika. Can't forget fika.
the coffee break ritual, right?
It's so much more than just grabbing a quick coffee, though.
Fill us in. What's the big deal with fika?
Okay, imagine this. It's woven into the workday. Dedicated time for socializing, unwinding, connecting with your colleagues.
Sounds lovely.
It is, but it's also deeply cultural. For newcomers, it's a chance to observe, participate in those Swedish social dynamics.
But I'm guessing it's not always easy to just jump right in.
You got it. Breaking into those established fika groups, that can be tough. Think about Maria, our fictional nurse from Spain. Moved to Sweden 6 years ago. Everyone was friendly during fika.
Sure.
But those bonds, that shared history within the group.
Inside jokes?
Exactly. It made it hard for her to really feel part of the inner circle,
Makes sense. It's like navigating those subtle social layers.
Yeah.
Now, Maria's story is a great example of how the immigrant experience is this blend of, challenges and opportunities.
For sure.
And speaking of opportunities, Sweden is famous for its really robust welfare system. What are some key aspects that really stand out, especially for people new to the country?
Okay, so the Swedish welfare system. It's designed to be a safety net for everyone, including immigrants. So healthcare is universal, largely free at the point of access, though there might be small fees for some services.
Makes sense.
And their education system, tuition free, even at the university level.
Wow.
Huge draw for many, Maria included.
Yeah.
But you realize something pretty quickly. Having access to education is amazing. But to actually work in many professions, you need fluent Swedish.
That's a crucial detail. Access doesn't equal opportunity across the board.
Exactly. Outside of certain fields like tech or engineering, those language skills are essential.
Makes sense. What about other aspects of the welfare system? Anything else that has a big impact on immigrants?
Oh, absolutely. Their family benefits are incredible. Parental leave, for example, among the most generous in the world. Parents can share over 480 days of paid leave.
That's amazing.
It is. And then there are the child allowances, paid monthly to families, regardless of income. So that can be a game changer for newcomers, especially those with families. Financial stability, support during those first few years settling in.
It's huge. It really shows how much they value families, social well-being. But with any system, I imagine there are downsides, challenges.
Especially for immigrants.
True. It's meant to be inclusive, but sometimes navigating all the bureaucracy. That can be tricky, especially if you're not fluent in Swedish or don't fully understand how it all works.
Right.
And even though healthcare is generally excellent, there are times when those cultural sensitivities or language barriers,
They create obstacles.
they do. Accessing specialized care can be tough for some. Maria, with her nursing background, noticed this firsthand.
Oh, really?
Some immigrant patients, they struggle to explain their symptoms fully or understand the doctor's instructions because of the language difference.
That's a really important point.
It highlights the need for more culturally sensitive approaches within healthcare. Even with the best intentions, there's always room for improvement. Absolutely. Now, going back to Maria's journey, you mentioned she struggled with feeling isolated at first. How did she overcome that? How did she end up feeling that sense of belonging in Sweden?
Maria's story is a testament to resilience and adaptation. She described those early months as incredibly lonely. Her Swedish wasn't great, so making those deeper connections outside of her SFI class, tough. She missed her family back in Spain, the familiar rhythms of life.
Understandable. Starting over in a new country is a huge adjustment.
It is. But she kept at it, kept studying, and slowly she started feeling more confident navigating daily life. And through SFI, she met other immigrants.
People who got it.
Exactly. People who understood her challenges, shared her hopes for the future. They created this tight-knit support group, sharing tips, celebrating milestones together.
Yeah, wonderful.
They even started exploring Swedish traditions together, local festivals, trying the cuisine.
Creating their own little community.
They were in it together. And it's amazing how shared experiences, even those rooted in challenges, they can create such strong bonds. For Maria, those SFI classes were more than just lessons. They were a lifeline, a way to find community, to feel like she belonged.
It's a beautiful thing. So her Swedish improved. She found her people. What happened next?
Her Swedish got good enough that she could start working in her field, landed a job at a local clinic, and she felt valued there, not just for her skills, but for her cultural perspective, too.
That's great.
It is. She started joining those fika breaks with colleagues. Little by little, she broke down those initial barriers, built real connections, and now, 6 years after arriving, she calls Sweden home.
That's so inspiring to hear how, despite those initial hurdles, she built this fulfilling life in Sweden. It speaks volumes about personal resilience, the power of community, and really immersing yourself in a new culture.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And Maria's story isn't unique. It reflects the experiences of so many immigrants who navigate these complexities, adapting to a new culture while also bringing their own perspectives, talents to Swedish society.
It's beautiful. So I guess the takeaway here is that moving to Sweden, it's more than just pretty scenery and a great social safety net.
Right.
It's about embracing a whole new way of life, understanding the cultural nuances, forging your own path to feeling truly integrated.
It's a journey, and it raises a really interesting question, I think. Sweden's becoming more and more diverse, right?
Definitely.
So how will all these new experiences, perspectives, how will they shape what it means to be Swedish in the future? What traditions will stay the same? What new hybrid forms of cultural expression will pop up?
That's a great question to leave our listeners with.
It is, because it's a dynamic process, and it makes us all think, what will Swedish identity look like in the years to come? How will it evolve?
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.
See you then.